Welcome everyone to our live broadcast today, where we are going over the Jupiter-Uranus conjunction coming up on April 20th, 2024. So welcome on to everyone who's new. We will be breaking this down for each sign of the zodiac. So you can watch this for your sun, moon, and rising, like you can with all of my videos like this and everyone else's. But the thing to be aware of is that your rising sign will be the most telling when it comes to what is manifesting in our physical reality. And sometimes your sun is also going to have that. Sometimes your moon will. I know for myself, the moon, I always feel it. Like sometimes I can hardly get through Pisces, because when I'm doing the delineation, I'm like, oh my God, that's my life every time. But this is what we're going to cover today. I'm going to tell you a little bit about what I think might come to pass, some possible manifestations of Jupiter-Uranus. And then we're going to talk about what it means for each sign of the zodiac. So if you're watching this after the live, there may or may not be timestamps, just depending on if I have gotten to them yet. And either way, enjoy. So let's go ahead and start. And hello to everyone jumping on the live. I can see Shivangi is here. Welcome on. And also, before we get into this, a couple of quick announcements. One, there are some other videos you might want to check out. There's a ton of stuff. I know the eclipse is tomorrow, April 8th. If you want to be prepared, or even if you're watching this after, the eclipse effects, remember, can manifest up to 6 months after the eclipse. So be sure to go back and watch the solar eclipse in Aries video for your sun, moon, and rising. And you can also watch the lunar eclipse in Libra video for your sun, moon, and rising. But at least watch the Aries one, because that's going to tell us what is coming to pass. You know, what area of life we're going to be focused on the next 6 months. So that all being said, let's get into what Jupiter-Uranus means. So a little bit about this Jupiter-Uranus conjunction. This is happening. It's one of the biggest astrological events of the year. Outer planet conjunctions to each other are very significant because they sort of mark the energy of a cycle. So this Jupiter-Uranus cycle is going to be in Taurus. And every outer planet cycle, if we put them all together, that would really tell us kind of the flavor of the time that we are in. So for example, this is not the one we're talking about today, but one that happened fairly recently was in 2021. Jupiter and Saturn met up in Aquarius, and that began an Aquarius cycle of 20 years. So Jupiter-Uranus are meeting up in Taurus on April 20th, and that's going to be happening at 21 degrees of Taurus, beginning a new cycle related to Taurus things, which is our stability, it means like changes to stability. And for anyone who thinks Jupiter is going to make this better and magical and wonderful, I'm sorry to burst your bubble, but it doesn't always do that. Sometimes Jupiter will expand the thing, but in order to figure out whether that's going to be good or bad, we have to see what the thing is that Jupiter is expanding. So Uranus is not something we really want to see expanding, in this sense that it's unexpected and it's in Taurus, so it's disruptive. Taurus is a fixed sign. It doesn't want to change. And it's an earth sign. So it's the slowest of the earth signs. It's the heaviest it's the slowest of the fixed signs when it comes to how fast it wants to move. You know, Taurus is like a bull. It's a mountain. It doesn't really want to just turn on a dime. But Uranus does sort of demand that. So it's like changes to things that can't move quickly. So changes to things like our what is it called? Like shipping and receiving and transportation. Changes to those things, like roads being shut down, or like the way we process food. We could see some changes to that. And I will get more into some other specific things about this that we can talk about once we go over some of the major general significations of Jupiter Uranus. So I have taken some notes from a few different books that I love, and I will be quoting these people. So I have three people I want to quote in terms of what they say Jupiter Uranus means. The first one is Stephen Arroyo. This is on his book, Exploring Jupiter, The Astrological Key to Progress, Prosperity, and Potential. This is one of my bazillion books I have. And so he describes Jupiter Uranus as radical social change, as scientific inventiveness, and as sudden revelations, immediate understanding. Now we have Sue Tompkins in Aspects in Astrology says that Jupiter Uranus contacts are about changing beliefs or a belief in freedom. And I definitely think freedom is a key word for Jupiter Uranus because Jupiter represents freedom of thought. You know, it's like freedom of thought. That is one keyword I would say because, again, Jupiter rules our understanding. Uranus sometimes rules separations and disconnections and connections. So we can see with this transit in our personal lives a connection to a certain amount of understanding or a disconnection from a belief system that we feel maybe we don't like how it limits our understanding and we want to be free from it. So that could be a thing. And then last but not least, these aren't the only people, but these are the three that I chose, is Robert Hand. Robert Hand describes Uranus Jupiter, actually, I'm not sure if this is just what he says about Uranus, or I think it is, but he refers to Uranus as disruptions of Saturnian structures. So Saturnian structures are things like government, like buildings, like our road system, anything that has a very solid, stable, unlimited thing to it. Filling out paperwork is a very Saturnian thing because it's like you have to do it the right way. There's only one way. And, you know, it has to be approved by an authority. Housing authorities, real estate agents and real estate, agencies, property management companies are all Saturnian structures, as well as many, many other things. Anything that runs with a head office or a corporate office is going to be a Saturnian structure as well. Now, Robert Hand also calls Uranus the lightning flash of enlightenment. So, we have some themes here of like something new coming, of something being begun, of some new inventions. Inventions or technologies could explode, or one major new technology could be released at this time in the world. And I just wrote some notes on what we could see happening. Now, keep in mind there are some other things we can see happen, but I'm going to just read you some of the possible ways this can show up in our world and in our lives. So one is a movement toward freedom related to land or home ownership. There could be some kind of social justice movement or some kind of change that is a move to make housing more accessible, or to make home ownership easier, or maybe people sell their homes at once, or a bunch of people buy homes at once. But moving toward freedom through disconnecting from things that used to exist, that were limiting, structures that were limiting. So this could be a creation of more like, what do you call it? Like self-governing cities or self-sustaining communities, off-grid. Uranus rules things that are not socially acceptable and not normal yet, things that are kind of on the leading edge of the time that we're in, things that are seem new or different, or, kind of break up the status quo. And Taurus rules housing, it rules land, it rules, again, things that move very slow. So we could see this. We could see this movement toward a different kind of housing system that really allows more freedom, more independence, more off-grid places that, make their own electricity. Maybe even certain states might start creating their own grids or something when it comes to electricity and stuff. That's one thing. 2, new inventions related to food, like meat made in a lab, or I know we already have fake meat, which I'm not a fan of. I don't believe in it. But we could see more of this, either like 3D printed food, or sort of new like inventions related to how food is made. And I mean, I don't like this, but it doesn't feel like it's a movement toward natural foods. It feels like it's the opposite. We could have some big news around the 20th of April related to a universal basic income or something else like this, as far as disconnecting with our current monetary system and connecting with a different one. We could also have an introduction or big news around cashless things, a movement toward a cashless society. I'm not a fan of this. I think it's horrible. But there could be something that comes out at this time around this, an announcement that there's a plan to do it, some kind of bonus or benefit to get rid of all your cash and like move all your money online. Anything like that. And now that could show up as like, I don't know, something with a current online community or online, like I think of like the metaverse or something like that, where money is now introduced to that as well, where it didn't used to be a part of it. So maybe just some social media now allows you to buy and sell things that you couldn't before through the actual social media platform. That's another thing that could happen, or new apps related to money, or things that combine money and technology. That could be a lot of things. So like changes to cryptocurrency or any of those. I don't know much about Bitcoin and stuff, so I'm not going to get too deep into that. We could also see something astrology related in the news around the 20th. So this is something related to astrology becomes more mainstream, or the blending of astrology with some kind of physical or sensual thing. So like something where like you get an astrology massage, or something. I know that makes no sense, but it could be something related to astrology could come out because Uranus rules astrology and Jupiter makes it bigger. So this might be a time where astrology gets in the news, or astrology blows up more than it already has, or, a bunch of astrologers predicted a thing and then it happens on that day. Anything like that. Now, movements against the status quo related to money, wealth, agriculture, farming, building, land, shipping, or travel. That could be anything. Maybe now there's something else, some new development with, drones delivering products for a company that you buy things from online. That could be a thing. Another prediction that I did predict in my Saturn and Pisces video is a rise of minimalism. This can be a thing where minimalism, the idea that we don't need to have so many things that we don't need, becomes popular. Something that a minimalist did a long time ago, or a book, everyone starts Marie Kondoing everything, or something else, maybe a more bigger movement around this, like tiny homes, for example. Those are like, sorry, I got distracted. Yeah, tiny homes or something else where something becomes really popular that's related to downsizing or having less things or, not being so dependent on physical stuff. I'm not sure how that's going to show up, but I do think that could be a possibility. There could be some kind of new regulations coming related to food. I do think at some point, while Saturn is still in Pisces, we have Uranus going through Taurus, there might be awareness around how food is getting contaminated. There may be more awareness around foodborne illness and new regulations around fixing that or public health, because especially in the US, because for the US, this happens in our 6th house of public health. There can be some kind of new medicine coming out. I'm not saying we should do that. I'm just saying it might happen. Now, this could be just new medicines coming out in general, but it could also be a promotion of a certain type of medicine. That's all I'm going to say because I don't want to get canceled. All right. So also new labor laws, or even more of a strong movement to abolish the 40-hour work week could be coming up. We could also see changes in the US and the value of the dollar, the financial solvency of the nation, something big that changes that. And it could be for better or for worse. Also, I really do think there can be a lot of people at this point breaking free from certain religions, creating anti-religions, especially with certain religions that are very, very strict and that have a lot of dogma and a lot of rules and a lot of you have to do it this way, a lot of shame, a lot of that kind of stuff. I think that we may see more people speaking out on certain religions or cults or belief systems that limited them, that they broke free from. The Jupiter, Uranus, one of the significations is breaking free from a belief system that you feel like is stopping you or holding you down or limiting you or not, allowing you to grow. So breaking free from belief systems for the purpose of growth is one of the keywords here. I also think that, for example, maybe there's a change to certain religions that are more dogmatic where they become more free. For example, maybe we'll see some churches or specific, either specific churches announcing that they accept transgender people or something along those lines, where a religion or a belief system, an established one or many established ones, or one particular branch of a religion like Protestants or Catholics or, Mormons or something, announce that they're going to open their doors to a certain kind of person, or they're going to be more liberal, or they're going to be more accepting, or they're going to let go of a certain dogma that used to be true, a certain rule that everyone just followed for no reason, that it's behind the times and they realize it. So something like that could be happening in the world as well. Okay, so those were my initial thoughts on what we're going to see in the world for this. I think there's going to be some kind of ship or train or something gets stuck somewhere. I think maybe some roads will get blocked. I think maybe some things will change with farming. Maybe that'll be for the better. I just now saw an article where farmers raised $300 million to create their own processing plant. So this would be an example of those topics of agriculture and innovation, right? So innovation gets combined with all these Taurus topics animals and farming and land and real estate and homes and building and things like that. Okay, so now we're going to go on to the part for all signs, and I'm going to break this down for each sign of the zodiac. Keep in mind, guys, that this transit in particular is a once in a lifetime thing. And so we may not necessarily know what's going to happen for us. And that's one of the definitions of Uranus, is that it is unpredictable. It's change you did not expect. So even as an astrologer, we can predict things, don't get me wrong. But I would say Uranus transits of all are probably some of the hardest to say exactly what's going to happen. All we know is that you did not see it coming. And sometimes there's good things you don't see coming, and sometimes there's really rough things we don't see coming. So please do not take this video and believe that some horrible thing is going to happen to you. That's never, ever, ever what I want for people. So let's now get the chart up here. And, okay, so let me see. I like that. I think that's good. Okay, so we are here with the chart. I'm just trying to adjust a little bit quickly. And then this is our chart for Aries. So we're going to go through each sign of the zodiac, and we're going to be looking at what it means for each sign. I'm going to check on the comments first, though. So we've got TS, hello. Karine, hello. Chris, hello. Yeah, you're having it in the third house. You're excited. Okay, good. I'm glad you're excited about it. Hello, Laurent. Haffers is here as well. Josh D, hello from Georgia. Hey, from Vegas. And okay, so I'm going to go ahead now with our all signs, starting with Aries. And let me go ahead and get our timer up too. And maybe even have a drink of coffee for this one. I've been excited to make this video. So let's go ahead with Aries. For Aries, Sun, Moon, and Rising, Jupiter, Uranus is going to be in your second house of money. So this can be a change to your finances. Now with Jupiter here, this tends toward positive, like a financial growth moment for Aries. But, not all of you are going to have a positive, lottery win. So here's what we're looking at to see more deeply what's going on. Number one, what houses do Jupiter rule? Your 9th house and your 12th house. So, with the 9th house ruler in the second, it's like something like money from something 9th house related. That could be a foreigner, a foreign language, a trip, some foreign travel, astrology. It could be an increase in income related to learning something new. Like you got a degree and now you're starting to use it. And now you get a job where you use that education or that knowledge you have. Something about what you know contributes to changes to your finances. So for Aries out there who maybe are trying to figure out this stuff, this is what I would look at. I would look at what you already know, what you know deeply, because what you know deeply might be influencing your income at this time. Now the 12th house ruler in the second, the 12th house ruler is about meditation and spirit guides and spirituality. So some of you Aries might be making more money off of spirituality at this time, but for those who that doesn't apply, that's not going to be all of you. You might have a change that brings up some psychological stuff around what do you believe about money? Maybe you get an inheritance, or maybe you get, and I don't want to predict that right now, but maybe there's something that changes your financial system, but your financial life, your financial status, but it also causes you to question what you believe, right? It's like, I've always made this much money a year, but if I make this much money a year and I always thought I couldn't, what does that mean I believe, right? So I expect this April 20th transit for you, Aries, to bring up some kind of question about what you believe about money and your self-worth, and, accepting the growth. And I don't know, for some Aries, it's possible that there is a change that is not just simply more money. It could be your work becomes more meaningful. What you're doing, you get to do more of the meaningful work, or more of the 12th house or 9th house type work. So some Aries out there might be speaking a foreign language more. They might be doing like more spiritual work or more work with people who have addictions or are getting sober or are in the dark night of the soul spiritually with that 12th house activated. They might be, having some kind of increase of awareness of or increase of dealing with the meaning of life through their work in some way. So that's what I have about Aries. This is definitely a financial transit. Well, actually, we should consider Uranus too here. So for Uranus ruling your 11th house of hopes and dreams and Jupiter conjunct it, I mean, this does feel more and more, it feels like a positive money transit for Aries because it just feels like that. I mean, growth of your hopes and dreams. You might get to a certain level at this point. Maybe Aries, you're at a certain level where now you can work toward a hope and dream where maybe you didn't have the stability financially before, or maybe you're like, who cares about stability? I'm going for it. I'm not saying that's the right thing. I can't always tell based on just the transits without seeing someone's chart. And even then, it's still up to you. But financial growth, more focus on hopes and dreams, an ability to financially pursue hopes and dreams or make money from work you've done in the past are all possibilities for this one. So we're going to go on now to our next one, which is going to be Taurus. For Taurus, sun, moon, and rising, the Jupiter-Uranus conjunction is happening in your first house. That is you. That is your life. That is your life direction and where you're heading. Now, for Tauruses, this transit might be a good change, but it also might be a little bit more, I don't know, some of you don't like change. Taurus is a fixed sign, so you might have to change things or adjust to things that you'd rather not. You might have some wonderful possibility, but you also have to make changes that really require a lot from you. Something unexpected can happen. Now, what area of life we're talking about? For you, Jupiter rules your 11th house of hopes and dreams, and it also rules your 8th house of transformation and other people's money from things like that you've invested in, risky investments. And having that ruler be in the first house, there might be a change to your investments. Now, I can't tell if this is good or bad for you, Taurus. I can't tell if you lose all your money in the stock market or if a house you have on the market sells or something like that. But be ready for a change that is happening from that area. It's possible for some Tauruses this could be an inheritance, and that's because the 8th house ruler is involved, some sudden change to your 8th house, but that's not going to be everyone. So now let's consider Uranus. Uranus rules the 10th house. So it does feel like whatever happens April 20th may cause an increase of work for you, or you may become more the face of your company or the face of your brand. You might be more publicly known for the work you do because this is your 10th house ruler in the first house of you. So this transit is like you're going to be more known for what you do. Your first impression when you're talking to people might be what you do for work. And that doesn't necessarily have to be that life-changing. It could be you just got a new job and now that's how you introduce yourself. Or it could be something changes in your work. And with Pluto here in the 10th, it's really kind of going to increase in your awareness of whether your work is aligned and authentic or not. Especially on this day because Pluto is squaring the sun in Taurus. So if your work doesn't feel aligned, you're going to know on April 20th. And that doesn't mean you have to go fix it that day, but that the awareness and the need for adjustment is probably going to be louder at this time. Also, because you are a Taurus, for Taurus risings especially, you want to look at the degree of your rising sign. So in this chart, we see the ascendant at 28. But for you, your ascendant could be 0. It could be any of the degrees. the closer it is to 21 degrees of Taurus, the more likely this is going to be a really strong, prominent, powerful change for you. So, and that is, again, not something to be afraid of, but it's something to know that it is once in a lifetime. I mean, Uranus goes around the circle in about 80 years. So whatever is happening at this transit, this is true for everyone, it is once in a lifetime, whether it is good or it's bad. But, this combination of work, your hopes and dreams, that part I like. I don't love the 8th house part because that's where, transformation is a nice keyword and it sounds all nice, but usually what we have to do to transform is not as fun, enjoyable, and it's usually something hard. So you might have a combination, Taurus, of challenge and blessing at the same time during this transit. So going on to the next one, which is going to be our Geminis. So for Gemini, sun, moon, and rising, we have this conjunction happening in your 12th house. I like this one the least, okay? I don't like Uranus in the 12th at all because it's rough. It's like some unexpected loss often. Now, all Geminis may not be losing someone, so don't flip out. But here's what we can see. Jupiter rules your 10th house of career, your public image. It also rules your 7th house of relationships. It is conjunct Uranus, so sudden changes to relationships, sudden changes to your job that you didn't see coming. Now, for some Geminis, this transit will be a change where you get to work more behind the scenes because Jupiter, your career planet, is in that 12th house where it's not visible. And why are you behind the scenes? Is this because you lost a job, or is it because you just are working behind the scenes of the job you have? We do not know. And yeah, we don't know that. So what we do know, though, is that for Geminis more than anybody else, this has the potential to be a psychological challenge to you. So I would say for Geminis, coming up into this transit, managing stress might be a good idea, right? Finding that meditation or that, and for, I guess the most positive potential here is like enlightenment. Enlightenment is on the agenda for Geminis. But the thing is that sometimes enlightenment comes from something challenging happening that like cracks us open. And I don't know what's causing this, but some kind of opening or connection to the divine is possible. A sudden connection to a spirit guide is possible. Or a lot of stress at once is another possibility. And the 9th house is the meaning of life for you. It's foreign languages. It's studying astrology, and it's in the 12th house. So there is potential that something you have learned, especially Geminis out there who are like, yes, I'm on the path to enlightenment. This might be a day where maybe you realize ways that you haven't been on the path, but you didn't know. There's some kind of sudden revelation here in your 12th house of isolation, self-sabotage, things you don't normally see. So I would say be prepared. And working with this energy for Geminis is like going out of your way to look at the things you don't normally see in terms of things we tend to lie to ourselves about, things we don't always want to see. Now that could show up in a relationship for Geminis as well, because your 7th house is ruled by Jupiter. So Jupiter, Uranus in the 12th is like worst case scenario, you find out something about your partner that you didn't know, or some sudden change happens to your relationship that you didn't see coming. That's the worst case scenario for Geminis. Best case scenario with 7th ruler in the 12th, you get a really good therapy session on the dynamics of the relationship based on something you didn't see coming, and now you know yourself more deeply and you can move forward with that information, even if it's a little bit shocking at first or hard to deal with. So Also, really good time to like connect to spirit guides, pray, meditate, get quiet. You may find sudden answers in solitude that it doesn't mean go be in solitude if you're having stress during this time, but there is the possibility of having like some kind of sudden awakening moment. That is not a promise though, so don't get too mad at me if that doesn't happen. All right, so we're going to go on to our next sign, which is going to be our Cancers. For Cancers, we have the Jupiter-Uranus conjunction in your 11th house of hopes and dreams. So immediately we have a potential new beginning of a dream, a potential change of it, especially for Cancers out there who've been working on achieving a certain thing. You're working on going to school, you're working on getting a degree, you're working on becoming a new something, becoming a therapist, becoming a this, becoming an astrologer. This might be the moment where you start doing, if you've been studying astrology and you want to be an astrologer, this could be the day where you're like, okay, I'm going to be an astrologer. You could also find something else that like makes possible a hope and dream that creates more meaning in your life. You start on a path of more meaning. You start on a path of start or have a big push or have a big opening related to the path of your highest potential to be the best, highest version of yourself in one way or the other. Jupiter rules your 9th house and your 6th house. So there could also be a change to your daily schedule at this time. This could be a new job. This could be quitting a job, ending a job. But because Jupiter and Uranus are in the 11th, they give it more good vibes around it. So for those Cancers who maybe a job ending at this time would be right on schedule or would make sense, you might unexpectedly be able to do it sooner. You know, it's like a job unexpectedly ends, but there's a silver lining. Or a trip you were going to go on, suddenly you are able to do it, or it cancels, or some other sudden change to travel, your ability to move further. And the thing is, the eclipse just happened in the 10th house for you on the 8th. So for you watching this today, today's the 7th. So the eclipse tomorrow will kind of activate this 10th house of career. But Mars, Saturn in the 9th could be, some Cancers might be choosing to go back to school in order to do something you've always wanted to do, or to, start on a new path. Others might be finishing school and be doing the clinicals or the, what is it called? Where you start doing the actual practice in the world. I can't think of the name for people who aren't like nurses and stuff. Where you start doing the thing in a supervised way, or you start doing the thing that you're doing. Maybe some of you are putting your art out there, starting to sell it, or having a boost of money from the work that you've done. Now, Uranus rules your 8th house. So the 8th house ruler in the 11th conjunct Jupiter makes me feel like maybe someone's helping you at this time. Maybe for Cancers, there's some kind of connection with another person or connection with a group of people. We're getting more intimate with people. And by intimate, I mean like close emotionally, not necessarily sexually. Although some of you, if that applies, that's fine. But intimacy, more intimacy, a change to a higher level of intimacy publicly. Now, I'm a little worried about this for some of you Cancers, because that could be something you didn't want made public, and you suddenly find out about it. But it could also be something you wanted made public. Suddenly, it's like Cancers with YouTube channels. Maybe suddenly it pops off at this time, because this is like a sudden burst of publicity, a sudden burst of attention. Now that could be in the work that you already have, where now you're going to be speaking in front of more people at work or something like that. So make sure to consider what's already happening in your life and how that fits the most. But a change to your diet, your schedule, a change to your ability to travel or not travel, foreign languages, astrology, meaningfulness of life, all of those things are possible here. Meaningfulness is not a word, but I think you can handle it. Going on now to Leos. All right, so we have our Leo, sun, moon, and risings. And we have this happening for Leos in the 10th house of career. So Jupiter Uranus meeting up in your career house is going to bring an unexpected growth to your career or your role in life. So imagine you're a stay-at-home parent. This could be a new baby, right? Where you have another unexpected kid. So just think of the 10th house as what your role in life is and that changing. Now, how is it going to change? Jupiter rules your 8th house of transformation and it rules your 5th house of kids. Okay, new baby is still a possibility here. Or a change to the life of one of your kids that somehow affects your life. And so imagine both your kids are now going to school. Well, maybe Uranus here makes it a little more unexpected, like, oh, we didn't know that they weren't going to get into summer school, or we didn't know that their school hours were going to change or something like that, where it's a little bit more of a disruption to the normal day-to-day schedule. But for those who don't have kids, some of you might be being more creative at your work or be expressing yourself more at your job or in your public role in some way. And it's a sudden burst of self-expression. So like if you're a Leo and you're an artist, well, maybe you become more known for your art at this time. It kind of depends on what's already happening. So always try to consider what's already happening in your life and what makes the most sense for you. Now, the 8th house ruler, this one's hard. You know, it's hard to know whether this is going to be good or bad or both. Because the 8th house being transformation makes it sound really nice, but it's usually a difficult thing that we have to deal with to transform. And with Mars Saturn here and having the eclipse be in that 9th house for Leos, this makes me feel like Leos are facing some kind of fear or dealing with some kind of something that's like psychologically challenging. So yeah, facing a fear or dealing with something hard happening, a change that was unexpected, that changes your reputation or your role in life, but that also somehow brings some kind of growth or possibility. So, you know, I think of someone like who has a family business. Maybe they're the kid in the family business, and maybe the mom or the dad who is like, maybe they're unable to perform their duties and now the kid has to step up and do more. This would feel like totally bad, but there's still that potential for growth in that 10th house where they're stepping up to some kind of new responsibility or they have growth in their 10th house of career. So that's not what's going to happen for everyone, but take that metaphor of some kind of transformation that is hard and challenging, but that leads to some kind of growth in your career or in your professional life. Now, because Uranus rules your 7th house, some Leos, this is going to be the growth of your partner's career. And I can already hear some of you being like, but what about me? I know, I hate it. I know some of you, it's like, sometimes the things in the chart are just other people, okay? Sometimes they're other people. So this could be a growth of the partner's career that requires a transformation on the part of the Leo person and is challenging to your sense of identity because it's like now you're known as their wife or their husband or their girlfriend or their boyfriend or whatever. That's not the only way this can show up. But overall, with the 5th ruler here, it feels more, it's going to lean toward more positive, a positive outcome. It may not be an easy event itself for any of us, but that's what I have here, is the potential to see some kind of change in the role in life of you, your partner, or your kids, Leo. So that's what I have. Now going on to Virgos. For Virgos, we have this happening in your 9th house, which is the meaning of life. Yes. So Jupiter, Uranus in the 9th house. I'm going to be honest, I don't love this one too much because it means a change to your belief system, but usually these are not like enjoyable experiences. Now, in the most extreme cases, If you're a Virgo, sun, moon, or rising, you leave a belief system because you want more freedom. You stop believing a certain thing because it limits you and you want to be more free. You remove yourself from a cult. You remove yourself from a 12-step program. You remove yourself from something that maybe you believed in the past that you no longer believe. For others, maybe there is a sudden enlightenment, and that sudden enlightenment may come from something challenging because it's the sixth house ruler, or something positive, we don't know. Now the seventh house ruler conjunct it. Now this, I like this for the possibility of meeting someone. I would not guarantee that because we have Saturn, Mars in the seventh at the same time. So it's like, it's if you do meet someone, it's almost like you meet someone amongst something difficult, or amongst some kind of argument, or amongst facing a challenge. You meet someone through overcoming a challenge together, and maybe you do get in a relationship. That's one possibility. That's not going to be everyone. But we also have your ruler of home here in the ninth house conjunct Uranus. Changing beliefs about your home, a change to your living situation where you can be more free and travel. A change to your job. Maybe some Virgos are going to work remotely now. Maybe a change to your work schedule. You have to change your work schedule because of a family situation. And it maybe allows you to have more freedom, but there's still some working things out because, again, that ninth house transit feels, sometimes it can be something beautiful, like a sudden realization or enlightenment or sudden freedom from something. Maybe you get out of a lease you really wanted to get out of, or you move when you really wanted to, or you move to another country, or you start speaking a foreign language, and that's affecting your day-to-day life more. Or let me think what else can be happening here. Or, I guess for some Virgos who are coupled, this could be a time where you end up, there could be a relationship change. It's not guaranteed but it's likely something in your relationship will change. And if you're single or your relationship doesn't change, it could also be the disconnection from a long-term friend. The disconnection in a relationship. Connections or disconnections with long-term friends, relationships. Usually seventh house is going to be peers, not... I can't say that actually. So forget I said that. What else could be good here? Jupiter might grow your work. Okay, Jupiter might increase the amount of work you're doing in that sixth house because the sixth house ruler gets conjunct by Jupiter. So what does that mean? You have more work to be done. Maybe your work takes on some kind of project, or you're assigned to a new thing at your work where you do more. And you might not necessarily, you may or may not also get paid more, right? Because like the sixth house tells us how much you're working, and Pluto's there changing it. So if your work schedule hasn't been authentic, Pluto's going to make it more authentic. Pluto's going to change things, transform it so that it becomes more aligned. Now, it's not always a straight line. Sometimes Pluto takes you down through hell and then back up. So you don't have to be going through hell right now, though, when it comes to your work schedule. I'm a Virgo rising and I am not. So just don't get all scared about that. Either way, I do also think Virgos might have to confront something in their friendships or their relationships and set some kind of boundary around this time, or even the time of the eclipse, because it feels like there might be a need for that. So overall, though, changes to your belief system, and really this is one where you can end up more enlightened as a result. It may not be easy, though, I can't tell. So we're going to go on now to our next sign, which is going to be Libras. Okay. So for Libra, Sun, Moon, and Rising, we have this going on in your 8th house of transformation. So this is the house of sex, death, and other people's money. So Libras could have a sudden change related to your investments. You can have a sudden change related to anything you've invested in, or a sudden change to your partner's money, because the 8th house is the money of your spouse or significant other. That could be for good or for bad. Now, Jupiter ruling your 6th house and your 3rd house. If for those Libras who maybe, this is going to be very specific. If you are a Libra who has an active personal injury case or something else where you would be possibly getting money from an accident, this could be a time where there's a sudden change to that, or a sudden development. That is very specific, and that's not going to be everyone. But it almost is like money gets put into your spouse's account, or money gets put into your retirement account. But we also have Saturn, Mars in the 6th, which I don't love, because this makes it feel like there is a potential for some Libras to have financial loss, especially, I'm going to just say, especially if you have, like, for example, Venus at like 21 degrees of Taurus, because that's going to hit that Scorpio planet. And although it's so hard to tell, because it's so hard to tell from a general reading, but here's what I can say for sure: a sudden change to your intimacy. Now, this doesn't usually end a relationship, but it could change your work schedule. It could change your ability to trust someone, and that could be for the better. You might have a good experience and you go deeper into your ability to trust someone. You face fears and you have this sudden breakthrough, especially if you've been doing things like therapy or something else like that, that's designed to help you overcome whatever psychological stuff you have going on, or help you face fears. This might be a time where you have faced a fear and it's like a new level of being is unlocked. That would be cool. Now, the 6th house ruler in the 8th, it's almost like working off a debt, like your wages get garnished, something like that could happen. Hopefully not. I hope not. And because it's a 6th house ruler for you, it feels like there's something going on here related to debt, something you owe, something that is financially missing that needs to be put in. It kind of lends more toward the side of something needing to be paid, right? So it could be positive if you're a Libra and you're like, I've been wanting to pay off debt and I just got a way to just pay a bunch of it off. Some Libras, it might be that. Now, the 3rd house ruler involved makes it more, 3rd and 6th make it kind of complex, because it could change your daily schedule. There could be a change to your car. Some of you might be taking out a loan for a car. That would be a positive way this would show up, is like you got the car loan you applied for or something. I'm not giving advice that you should or shouldn't do that, but it's your 3rd ruler, the car, in the house of debt, in the house of interest, or you pay off the car loan and it's done and you made the final payment, but it was sudden. That's the thing I don't like about Uranus here, is it can be something sudden. Now, I guess on the extreme possibility, if you had a sibling pass away, this might be a time where that topic is coming up, or you feel like more close to that person on the other side. That would be another way, but that's only if your sibling already passed away. And I think we'll stop there for Libras, but there is potential here to, some of you might be investing in retirement or investing in something. The topic of investing or your partner's money may have some volatility to it or changes to it around this time. So we're going to go on now to the next sign, which is going to be our Scorpios. Okay, for Scorpio, Sun, Moon, and Rising, we have got this happening in your 7th house. So this can be a relationship transit because you have a sudden change in Jupiter. It doesn't always make things better, it makes them more. Now, if you are a Scorpio and you have been in a relationship and you've been having some problems, this might be a time where there is a disconnection. If you are a Scorpio who is single, this might be a time where there is a connection. And if you've been in a relationship, this might be a time where there's like a sudden deepening of that connection. Although Jupiter-Uranus feels a little bit more fun, but with Saturn in the 5th, this is a possibility of locking down a commitment. That is a possibility. I'm not promising that, but these are some possibilities. Now, Jupiter rules that 5th house, so that makes it more of a like, let's move in together. Let's take this dating thing and change it more. Now, if you have been off the market and you're single, this might be, let me start online dating. Let me start putting myself out there again. Now, if you are in a long-term relationship and it's not changing, well, maybe there is some kind of change within the relationship of how it's going. I don't know what that would be, but maybe something changes with your partner. What else could happen here? Well, this could also be the 5th house being your creativity and also your kids. You could have a kid have a relationship change. You could have one of your kids' lives change if you have kids. If you don't have kids, what's your baby? What's your creative baby here that could be having a sudden manifestation into reality or a sudden surge, growth spurt? What is your creative thing you're working on that could have a growth spurt at this time? That could be a possibility as well. Now, Jupiter rules your money house. So for some Scorpios, this could be you spending money on a partner. It could be you getting money from a partner. It could be you and your partner making a financial change together. It could be a change to your partner's finances. A change to your financial situation because of a partner or a friend. Now let's consider, where is Uranus for you? It's the 4th house. So this could be, for some Scorpios, there's something related to payment on a house or something related to investing money into real estate, or I'm not giving advice that you should do that. You just could be combining your home topics. Combining home with money are coming up. Now, this could also be your parents. If your parents might give you money, or I don't know, give you money to get married or something like that, that might be a thing. Just consider everything, right? Because there's a lot of possibilities and it's a general reading. So, consider, are you single or married? Do you have money to spend on a partner, or are you the person who would be more likely to receive it, etc., etc. Either way, I do think there's a change to your money during this transit. I hope it makes it more secure and solid and positive. But it's unexpected, this unexpected change to your money. This could be a bonus that day you get. But with Uranus, we don't know if it's good or bad. We don't know if it's going to turn that money on, turn the faucet of money on, or turn the faucet of money off. So financial changes up ahead for Scorpios, definitely. Also, so it's financial changes and relationship changes are the most likely here for Scorpios. And yeah, that is what I have. And it might be that you make more money because of a business. If you have a business and you're like trying to launch something, Mars sextile Uranus at this time could be you putting something out there and getting some kind of response. Or, it could be an increase in finances due to something you are initiating. It could also be that, popping the question. Someone could be popping the question here. It could also be you initiating a relationship starting, or you putting yourself out there to Again, start dating again if that applies. So these are the things I see possible or most likely for our Scorpios. And we're going to move on now to Sagittariuses. For Sagittarius, nope, we got to get to the right one. We have the Jupiter-Uranus conjunction in your 6th house. For some people, this is definitely a schedule change or a change to your health routines. And it's going to be sudden, which means you're not expecting it. So a sudden change to do more work is highlighted because Jupiter's here, making it more. A sudden change where you have to work overtime. Maybe your work has more work for you to do, and now you get to do more. Maybe you got a promotion. Maybe you, it's possible some people could get cut, but it doesn't even feel like that because it really feels like more work to be done. So something speeds up, something accelerates, something gets connected where it wasn't before. Just an influx of requests for the work you do, especially if you are self-employed, because the eclipse on the 8th is in that 5th house of self-employment. So it's like self-employment gets a huge focus and then more work comes in. Now, Jupiter rules your 4th house of home and you. So you could be moving on the 20th and it might be unexpected. And that could change your schedule or routines. Like imagine you have roommates and then you move and now you don't have roommates and you have a different schedule because you can do whatever you want to. Or it goes the other way around. And, you know, something about and with Mars here in the 4th, almost like a disconnection from a living situation could create more freedom in your schedule. Now, that might not come easily. You might have to figure out how to deal with some things, some unexpected schedule stuff that you didn't have before. Maybe a place you worked moves or changes, and you have to figure out where you're going to do the work you used to do. Or your job changes and now you have a commute when you didn't before. You move, you're working somewhere else. And it's maybe the same job. Let me see what else I can see here. Well, the home. So yeah, home, changes to the home, changes to the family of origin. A disconnection from a certain person in a family of origin. I don't like this, but this could be because life happens or because you realize you have to set a boundary with someone. That could be a thing, especially if you have been like living with your mother-in-law or something like that, or living with your parents and it's like now it's time to go or it's time for them to get out or something like that could be happening for Sagittariuses. Also, you know, Jupiter in that 6th house really does mean more work, and Uranus kind of takes that more work and either makes it a sudden change for more work or it makes it like Uranian. So that means like more astrology readings, more work online, more work remotely, more work that is technological in nature, or technological or mechanical. So I do think if you want more work, Sagittarius, I think this transit is going to give it to you. And if you don't want it, I think this transit is probably going to give it to you. It is possible there could be a job change, right? Because Uranus can be a disconnection from a job, but it feels like it can't just be that. It would have to be disconnecting from a job because there's something else you have to do more of. It's like if you had 2 jobs, now you have to cut one because you have so much work to do in the other one. So that's why I feel like that. It does not feel like you just get cut and that's it. So, and remember, you are Jupiter, so you are in the 6th house, which means this Uranus change is happening to you, which there could be a challenge here. There could be a change that's unexpected, like you can't live where you lived anymore, or something else like that. That would be the most likely. Getting cut related to a disconnection from a home, like I said. So some of you might already know it, and it's like, yeah, my lease is going to be up, and that is the last day, or something like that. But this could be a day where you find out, oh, you can't stay here anymore, or something like that. So those are the possibilities I see for Sag. Let's go on now to our next sign, which is going to be Capricorns. For Capricorn, Sun, Moon, and Rising, we've got Jupiter, Uranus in the 5th house. At least it's in the fun house. So this could be a time where you have more fun. And we are on the 21st now, but it's still going to be the same basic information as far as what happens on the 20th of April. You could have more fun. You could connect to a source of pleasure. Connect to a hobby, connect to something you love, it could be new or it could be old, right? It could be an old hobby that you reconnect with. It could be a disconnection, but it feels more positive here. Now, Jupiter rules your 3rd house and your 12th house. So the 3rd house is going to be siblings, and it's also going to be your car. It's going to be your communication. So communication being online, more communication online, more emails, more phone calls, needing to keep everyone up to speed on an event that happens, possibly related to a sibling. This could also be the 12th house ruler in the 5th can be getting pleasure from self-isolation. So that could be like doing things you enjoy by yourself. That could be anything you like to do by yourself. It can be like spiritual stuff, or it can be like watching movies by yourself, or it can be other stuff you like to do by yourself. It can also be a change to a relationship, not even a relationship as much as if you're dating. This could be where you stop dating someone or you start dating someone. It could be where dating brings up some kind of psychological stuff to deal with, or maybe you're suddenly in a place where you've dealt with psychological stuff and now you're ready to date or to flirt or to, maybe you have a sudden moment where it's like you're chit-chatting with someone or flirting with them or enjoying, a nice, lovely conversation. It could just be that. Now, as far as your car, it's possible you could make a change to your car. It doesn't feel that strong though. So that's only going to be some of you. And it would be like an unexpected change or a sudden quick thing that you do. Like you put a new stereo in it, or like, get a GPS in it, or something technological or with the electric system changing. But it feels like either way, it feels like the outcome is more growth, like a better car that you enjoy more. What else? Let's see. Uranus rules your 2nd house of money. So, oh yeah. So that's kind of a good thing to talk about because money grows, okay? Especially money from self-employment. Now, this could be you investing in self-employment or you taking your money and spending it. So this may not be a transit where you get more money. It might be a transit where you spend more money because your money planet is influenced by Jupiter. So if you are not trying to spend a shitload of money right now, Capricorn, I would watch your finances on this day, because if you want to make a big purchase and it's like, oh yeah, that's the day I'm putting a down payment on a house, or that's the day I'm buying a new car, or that's the day I'm going to buy something else, or yeah, I plan to be on a vacation. I'm going to spend all my money on Uber and hotels and shit. If you know that it's coming and you're okay with it, that's fine. But if you're not planning to make a big purchase on this day, I would watch your bank account and make sure some huge amount of money does not come out that you didn't plan. This could also be you investing in a kid, paying for your kid's college, or it feels like a bigger expense because Jupiter's here. So investing in something for your kid, their house, their car, their anything, giving them money. If you don't have kids, investing in your own pleasure, buying concert tickets, right? Something like that. So it might be something inconsequential and daily. It might be fixing something with your car. It might be dating or flirting or something with romance, or like taking your partner out on a date and, enjoying it and going somewhere together in public and like being seen together and just, having that harmonious sudden, let's go spend some money and gamble or whatever it is that you do together. It could be any of that stuff. So that's what I have for Capricorns, and always let me know how it lands. I always love hearing from you guys. And we're going to go to our next sign, which is Aquarius. So for Aquariuses, we have the Jupiter-Uranus conjunction happening in your 4th house of home. So this can be a sudden change to the home or in the home. You could redecorate, you could move, you could find a new place you want to move into and have that possibility related to a change in the home. If you live with people, maybe someone's moving right now or someone's moving in, some kind of change to that part of your home. Now, the 4th house is also our emotional foundation. So Jupiter, Uranus here, I would say this one has a more potential of having it be enlightenment or a sudden realization. But it's probably, if it is a sudden realization for Aquarius, this is going to be a sudden realization about your emotional foundation. So oftentimes this is going to stem from childhood dynamics and realizing you don't have to do a thing anymore that you used to do, or you grow to become more stable in your 4th house. Now, the thing is though, is this could be because something that would potentially cause instability happens. It's almost like something knocks you a little bit off your footing emotionally, and Jupiter can help you stabilize that. And that could be anything. But it can have to do with money because we got Mars in the 2nd house. Now, Jupiter for you rules your 2nd house of money, and it rules your 11th house. And that's also a money house because it's money from the work you do. It's your hopes and dreams and your friends. So a sudden connection or disconnection to certain friends. Maybe you have friends over for dinner on the 20th or 21st and you weren't planning on it. Maybe certain friends now become closer friends and you didn't expect that to happen. Maybe you let some people in at this time. Maybe you need to cut some people out at this time. But if that's the case, it feels that there's still potential for growth. So it's like cutting out the wrong people, moving and disconnecting from a group of people that way and moving to somewhere else. That can be part of it. And what else? Jupiter being the money planet. This is a sudden change to your money, but this could be you make a down payment on a house, or you invest in your house, or you suddenly have to pay for the plumbing or anything related to your home, especially if you own your own home, or you make a down payment on renting, or, it's like with Uranus conjunct the money planet, this can be an electronic deposit or an electronic payment toward something 4th house. So that would either be your house, your home, something for your parents, or something for like to make you feel better emotionally. So like, I don't mean like eating your favorite lasagna. I mean like a course on stabilizing your nervous system, or something else like that, or a book that's going to teach you that or something. Oh. Okay, so let me see what else we have here. Now, Jupiter is conjunct you, right? Because you're the Aquarius rising or the Aquarius sun or moon, which means Jupiter can cause you to grow. So how is Jupiter going to cause you to grow? Maybe you're going to get a new course of study. Maybe it's going to bring you money, because money is conjunct you. You cannot be separated from money is kind of the way it feels. So it's like maybe you're focusing more on money right now, but it can also be, this can be where you get more money and it's like a one-time payment kind of a thing. And that could be from anything. I don't really see where it's from as much as just that like an electronic payment coming to you could be a thing. But again, because your money is in the 4th, it could also be you putting money into something or both. So that's what I have for Aquarius. And we're going to go on now to our next sign, which is going to be Pisces. Thank you. I hope that sneeze was not like insanely loud. Okay, so Pisces, we have the Jupiter-Uranus conjunction happening in your third house of communication, learning, studying, being busy. I think this transit might make you kind of busy. Something might kick off in your schedule and what you got to do from day to day that makes you drive more places or make a change to your car or something like that. Now, Jupiter rules you and it rules your 10th house of work. So let's start with the work change. This can be a change to your role at work. So maybe some Pisces are getting a promotion. Maybe some Pisces doesn't quite feel like job loss energy, but job change. So some kind of unexpected change at your work where it's like, you get some kind of communication from the boss on the 20th or the 21st that says your job is going to change in this way and this way and this way. It's possible your hours could get cut. It's possible they could increase. It's possible your hours will stay the same and your money stays the same, but your requirements at work are going to change. Maybe you're busier, you're communicating more, you're answering the phone more, sending more emails, getting assigned to a certain project that requires more from you. This is what I see for Pisces because we still have Saturn transiting that first house. It's been there since March of 2023. So it's giving you more responsibility. And some of you have taken on this responsibility. Others of you, it's been assigned to you through life situations. But either way, it's more responsibility to step up to. So this sudden change in your third house it could be something as simple as like you're the one who gets the coffee now every day for everyone you work with, or something else where it's more places to go or more people to talk to. Now, for others, this might be, let's say you're self-employed. This might be your work is more focused on information you're putting out there, and there's more need to learn or communicate what you know or communicate something that you maybe weren't doing before or in a different way. So changes to how you communicate. It makes me feel like more though. So if you're like a Pisces who's a YouTuber, maybe now you add a podcast. If you are a Pisces who works in an office, maybe now you're responsible for a certain stream of emails or monitoring the phones or, something else that, again, it's like, this is kind of like busy work a little bit. So that's that 10th house. Now, Jupiter is you. So this is a sudden change to your life on the 20th or the 21st. And I don't know what it's going to be, but it will change your life direction a bit. It will probably, again, make you busier. So this feels like more to do, more to be done. Now let's see what Uranus rules. Uranus rules your 12th house of isolation, meditation, spirituality, and spirit guides. And Pluto's here, really putting you in touch with your real spirit, putting you in touch with your feelings and some shadow work and stuff like that. So what could this be? A change to your life from that 12th house. Some of you, this could actually be busier in the sense of connecting to spirit, but it doesn't feel like busier is going to be the right word, because it's like filling your day with more things that will connect you to the divine. Filling your day with the void, okay? Because the 12th house is like the void. It's when we don't know what's going to happen next. We can't really reach toward external things. This might be you doing this on purpose, where you're like, I need to go to the park more, or I need to meditate more, or I need to sit in silence on a regular basis more. So I don't want to say busy, because when we think of busy, we think of our nervous system being stressed, and it's like, oh, I'm so busy, I gotta blah, 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 blah. But you can be busy without being frazzled. And that's kind of what I feel is like putting more things into your day that relate to spirit, that relate to your spirit guides, that relate to your spiritual life, and having that be more of a front and center priority. Now, the 12th house ruler hitting you here is not, there can be challenges to this, because the 12th house also does rule loss. So what happens on the 20th or 21st for you? Maybe there is some kind of loss for Pisces going on as far as anything, right? So don't think the worst of this. It could be something you thought you were going to do that you realize you don't want to do anymore. It could be something you surrender. Okay, it could be something you want to change. That you're like, I have to stop doing this. It's not serving me. Maybe there's an awareness, a sudden realization of something you did not see before. This is really, really highly likely because the 12th house is stuff we don't see. Jupiter, Uranus is enlightenment, realizations, sudden understanding. And it's in your 3rd house of learning. Maybe you pick up a spiritual book or you take a course that you just have a moment of clarity and you're like, oh my God, that is my life. I have to stop doing this. Or you realize, it could be anything, right? So let's just say, I'm just going to make something up. Let's say you're learning about psychic development and you want to open your third eye, and then you learn that this thing you do every day that you've always done invites negative spirits in. You know what I mean? I don't know why that's where I'm going with this. I just think of stuff that's related to my life usually. And then you go, oh shit, I've been opening up to these negative spirits this whole time. I gotta stop doing that. It could be something like that where you have this enlightenment, realizing that you have actually been unintentionally participating in something you don't want. That's the 12th house. So, every time I do this, I'm actually, going against myself. Realizing something like that. And because it's in the 3rd house, you realize it from a course, you realize it from something you're studying, you get this sudden awareness of a certain self-defeating behavior. And this could be a spiritual thing you realize, it could be a psychological thing you realize. It's like, let me think of another example. Let's say you are someone who is prone to getting angry. Let's say you get angry sometimes. And you have been screaming in your pillow to vent. And then on this day, you realize that doesn't actually help. Because, and this is something I learned at one point, is that when you express the anger to vent, it doesn't get out. It never goes away. It never gets out. So what I learned when I was learning about this is that what you can do is train yourself to react in a different way. And so you don't try to feel the anger, you train yourself to cultivate another emotion. And this is something I've actually learned. And maybe this will have an effect on Pisces at this time, where instead of trying to release the bad emotions and vent and get it out, where you just open it up again and open it up again. Maybe you're going to start cultivating holy emotions like reverence and awe and gratitude and neutrality. So maybe Pisces needed that because I don't normally go into stuff I know. I try really hard not to talk about what I know. I try to talk about what I see in the chart happening. But just take this metaphor of that kind of situation where you're doing something to be better, to help yourself, to soothe yourself, to heal yourself, to be your highest version, and you find out, I've been doing the wrong thing. I've been doing something that is not serving me. It's actually doing something I don't want. So on the 20th of April, this is the time to be open to seeing those things, to be open to see what ways you have been trying to solve your problems where you may actually have been making them worse in some way, or something along those lines. And remember, it can be spiritual or it can be psychological in nature. And it's probably going to come from a book or a teacher or a YouTube video or some kind of communication that comes in. Now, I do think there can be something a little bit challenging going on here, but what I do see that's positive for Pisces is the eclipse on the 8th is in your money house. And it kind of does mean like new money or a new way to make money. a new way to step up and make some income. So even if something on this 20th or 21st of April brings a change, it could be, because it's Jupiter is you. So it's you start or you stop or you connect or you disconnect from something. And it can be anything because it's your life. So this is going to be a stronger one for my Pisces risings, Pisces sun, moon, and rising, Sag sun, moon, and rising, because Jupiter is you in the chart and you are connected or you are disconnected. And so you may be disconnected from something you need to disconnect from. You might not. It might be a disconnection from something that was awesome and now it's not there anymore. It could be a connection to something awesome. Or watch out that you're not connecting to something that is not awesome, right? Watch out that you are not self-soothing or coping by connecting with something that is not good for you, that isn't good for you. But either way, there's still a lot of potential during this time to take on more responsibility in a way that is going to make you more money or going to change your money story in your life. So that is what I have for Pisces. So it looks like, I see some messages here on Pisces. Mel says accurate for Pisces rising. Josh says same here. Mel Lee, yeah, so accurate. Thank you. Thank you for saying that. I always love hearing from you guys. And so a couple more announcements for what to do next, what you can do next. Oops, that's not what I wanted to do. Let's do this. There is, you can watch the video on the solar eclipse. Even if you've already seen it, you should watch it again because it's going to tell you about the snapshot of Monday, but it's also going to tell you about the snapshot of the next 6 months for you. So you can watch that for your sun, moon, and rising. And you can also watch that Libra full moon for your sun, moon, and rising. And if you really, really want to dive deep, you can also watch my video I did in February for the Chiron North Node conjunction. The reason is because Chiron is going to be conjunct the sun in the solar eclipse tomorrow. So this means we're going to be aware of our wounds. We're going to be aware of where we have been holding ourselves back. And we're going to be aware of how that is stopping us. And whenever, Chiron stuff comes up, it's always a good idea to go into the wound. And I don't mean feel it again and relive it. But sometimes we actually need to re-experience the pain of something before we can see how before we can claim our power. And I can remember this in my life so many times with being sick or with money, where I would just have these sort of breakdowns, where I would be faced with something really challenging and not be able to see how I could change it until finally during one of those moments, and it was the same thing happening again and again and again, until finally I could kind of see that this is something I can change. This is something I have control over, and this is something I'm creating in my life. So when it comes to the Chiron stuff, all it takes is a sliver of openness to respond differently. That's the key to getting through Chiron. So, yes. And then let's see some of the comments here. Josh is saying, absolutely, I have to identify the pain problem and accept the reality, then take actions from my new awareness. Yes. And, this is where sometimes it's really easy for us to just brush it off, and even a lot of spiritual stuff is going to encourage us to just think positive. And it's there is a time and a place to think positive. And there is a time and a place to look squarely at pain in the eye and let ourselves feel it. And part of this spiritual path is to develop our own sense of groundedness, our own feeling that we are okay in our own skin, to the point where we can more fearlessly and courageously face these things without crumbling. Because that's spirituality. I mean, we think spirituality is going to be all I manifested a Ferrari, or what the fuck do people think it is? I have these psychic powers now and I can read people's minds. That's kind of what I thought going into this. And I mean, I wouldn't say I have psychic powers. I would say I have a skill now, but the real path to spirituality is so hard. It is work. It takes so much courage. It takes doing the boring thing that we don't want to do. It's very regular and not very exciting. You know, it's not like you go magically off into the sunset. So, you know, for anyone who's feeling that heaviness right now coming into the eclipse, I can feel it too. I can feel it. And what I'll say is that it's like, I mean, it's just a season right now. It is a season. The 6 months will be a season of, you know, some kind of sacrifice, some kind of stepping up to things. It might not feel like it's moving very fast. And if you haven't watched my weekly video, you should watch that too, because it kind of talks about why Thursday, I think it's Thursday, we might have more clarity than we do now. And that clarity might be enlightenment. It might be realizing there's a realization of the problem that I expect to happen on Thursday. And that may be a relief for some. And it might be, I mean, it might be like hard, just depends on what's happening in your life and your chart. But if you're feeling like you don't know what's going on, if you tend to worry about eclipses, or if this energy, you just feel like you're kind of swimming around with no direction or anything like that, then, you know, it's going to pass. I think the second half of April will be a bit more easier, less hard than this half. I think after Thursday, it's almost like the cards will be on the table and we'll be able to kind of pick them up and do something with them. It's like right now, it feels like we're waiting to be dealt this hand and we don't know what we're going to get, but we think it's going to be a shitty one. That's kind of the feeling I get. It's like, but you can't control what hand you're going to be dealt, right? We can just play the cards we have the best we can. So I hope that's helpful. And if you need more support, go watch all those videos. There's so much content I have out right now to support everyone through this time. So that is there for you. And if you need even more support, you can always book a private reading. Although I will say, if you're going to ask me like, what's going to happen on this transit, I'm really going to be limited in how much I can help, because that's not my biggest forte, is like what's going to happen. My biggest forte is like, here's what the energy is doing and here's how you can work with the energy. So that's what I have today. I hope you guys are calm, cool, and collected going into this eclipse. I hope your life isn't giving you too much craziness. And I'm just sending you guys not just love, but like just peace, you know, peace and calm and tranquility over the next few days. So that is what I have today. Thank you so much for coming. Thank you all for all of your support on all these videos. And I will see you all in the next video. Bye, guys.